All right, so once you've set up your AI, we're going to take a look at how to use the AI responder to then put together your messaging. So we have lists, we have campaigns, and now we have AI responders. The AI responder is really going to determine how it responds in your business. So therefore, like how you would respond in whatever business that you run. And if you run multiple businesses, you may look to set up multiple AI responders. So that way, if you have different product lines and things like that, you don't want one AI responder offering the services of one of your businesses when it means to offer the services of another. Because we're going to be able to now go to lists where before we could attach the campaign, whichever campaign that we put together, the messaging and whatnot. So we would attach the campaign that would associate with that particular list of individuals. And then we also now have the AI responder. And so now I can attach the AI responder to make sure that it coincides with the correct business. Because when you come here to the AI responder, what you're going to see now is you're going to see your business name, the about company. And this is basically like if they were to ask questions about your company, this is where it gets a lot of that information from. The other place is going to be into the FAQs, which we'll get to in a second. So then we also have like your calendar link, because the idea here is this really acts as an AI appointment setter. And in order to be able to set an appointment, they have to know who they're setting the appointment with. So you're going to put your calendar link here, and then it says your AI name. What that basically means is when they ask, who is this? It will respond with this piece of information. I like to say this is Phil's AI appointment setter. So that way, if it doesn't respond exactly how I would have responded in that situation, I can now come back and say, hey, that was my AI. No big deal. If you put your name, you're putting the onus on you and you having to basically own up to whatever is being said. So I would just be careful. You may want to put like a VA or your assistant or something like that. And then from here is response tone. How do we want this to respond? Now, you can get a little, probably, I don't think I would get away from sarcastic because someone may take that as offensive. I do humorous because it's on the lighter note. Now, there's also some serious ones. So you may find your personality in here, and you may just want to align that with that. But to be on the safe side, you may just want to have it either neutral or humorous or something that seems like, very light when it comes to the conversation, so people want to engage. Then over here is your marketing goal. Basically, what's the expectation of this interaction? So that's going to be handled in the marketing goal. And then down here is the FAQs. So when you start, it's basically going to have a blank and it's going to say add FAQ. So I'm going to put my FAQs here. And then what these are basically going to do is determine, if they ask a specific thing about your business that's not detailed in the about company, then you would put that here. And just to be on the safe side, you don't want to have a ton of information in any of these spaces, because if you put too much information here, it can affect how the system operates. I always recommend, if you can, stay under 1,000 characters to do so. But some of these bigger boxes up here, like this one may be closer to 2,000 each. I probably wouldn't try to write an entire piece about your company. You just want to give people information. So if they were to say, hey, what is it that you do at fill in the blank, it's able to then send that information to them based on the information it has here. So then when you come down to FAQs, this is basically going to kind of steer it along and say, if this person says this, respond with that. And so this is going to kind of guide it along. So what I like to do, in my opinion, is when someone's ready to buy, I want them to get the meeting link. I don't want to talk to them about 5 or 6 different things. You potentially could run them off. Because of that, we want to make sure that it is conversational, but it gets to the point. Stuff like this, but this is completely your choice. You can do it this however you like, because different businesses operate differently and you may run it completely different than I would. So down here next, we have products. So I've got my product that I'm selling, which is Easy Messenger. I'm selling it for $197 a month. And there you go. There's my website. And then I also have a brief description about what it is. Then we come down here a little further and we have qualifying questions. Now it says you can do up to 10. Some people, they like to have a lot, Me personally, I try not to do more than 3. And the reason is because the whole purpose of this flow is to basically, you start a conversation. It doesn't have to be business oriented at all. As it goes a little further, and a few interactions later, it starts to really get them on this track of, hey, this is what we do. This is how we can business. It starts to ask questions like that. And then the qualifying questions come later, like, okay, before we go any further, can you tell me a little about your business? Right? And so now we get them talking. And then this one is, how are you planning on getting customers for your new offer? Different things like that. Because sometimes what we're really doing here is we're getting the AI to be familiarized with what this person does as a business and how they currently run their business. And then obviously, because our goal here is to sell them something else, we're going to ask them, are they getting the results that they're looking for? These are working for me. You may put something else completely different in here. Really frame this around your business and what you're trying to accomplish. And that's the beauty of this, is you have the flexibility to enter as many of these, up to 10 as you like. Just know that you can't go to the next one unless you fill out this one. So I'm going to delete it. But that's pretty much it. And then once you have all these sections, just remember, as you go, save as you go. I didn't because I was going through my demo, but I always make sure if I touch anything, and if it's what I meant to touch, that I save it. Otherwise, it will get deleted and you will have to re-enter it all over, and no one wants to do that. Okay, so all these have been saved, and you're going to constantly see all this information being saved over to the right. Okay, so that is one. So now if I start off, just so you see what this looks like, and we're in the process of putting in some templates here so it doesn't start completely blank, but this is kind of what it looks like for now. It's like all these pieces of information are blank, and you're going to fill them out to the best of your ability about, your business and whatnot. And I just wanted you to see kind of how that works. Now, if there's some reason you have 2 different businesses, but there is some framework that's the same, like you think the marketing, or you think that this or whatever, you want to do it the same way, you can literally come up here and you can clone your AI responder now. So I don't have to enter this twice. It's literally on here twice, and I can just come in here and modify a few things. So because in my FAQs, they may be different because it's really about my business, but in my case, it's kind of generalized. So if yours is more specific, you have to obviously adapt accordingly. But, some of these things may be the same. So I'm sure if you're dealing with multiple businesses, the products might be different, but maybe the qualifying questions could be the same. It just depends on how this works for your business. So that's AI responders. I know there's a lot here, but trust me, we're here to help. If there's anything we can do, just please let us know. Thanks.